Now students, we are going to study about or on to how to draw the cubic function in the form of f of x is equal to ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx. For an example, we are given y is equal to x cubed minus 6x squared plus 9x. Question A says determine the shape of the graph. So if a is greater than 0, okay, so the a here, though it's not written, a is equal to 1, so 1 is greater than 0, okay. So the shape of the graph is going to look like this, okay, starting with the maximum turning point and then next the minimum turning point. This is the shape of the graph. B, it says calculate the y-intercept. Y-intercept, you must let x be equal to 0, given y is equal to x to the power 3 minus 6x squared plus 9x. Therefore, y is equal to 0 to the power 3 minus 6 of 0 plus 9 of 0. Then the answer is 0. So this is the y-intercept. So what does that mean? It means, therefore, when x is equal to 0, the value of y is equal to 0. So these are the points on the graph, okay? Then the next question that we are going to calculate is C. It says calculate the x-intercept, that means the roots. How to calculate the x-intercept? You must let y be 0, okay? So in this equation, in place of y, you substitute 0. 0 is equal to x to the power 3 minus 6x squared plus 9x. Okay, then now what do you notice with the first term, second term, and third term? There's a common factor x. So you take out the common factor and then what is left is x squared minus 6x plus 9. Therefore, you're now going to factorize the x squared minus 6x plus 9 by opening up two brackets. So how to factorize this quadratic expression, this part that is quadratic, okay? So now you want two numbers. When you multiply, they give you positive 9. The same numbers, when you add, they give us negative 6. For us to have positive 9, it's either you are multiplying a positive times a positive, or, okay, let me write let me have a space, okay. It's either you are multiplying a positive times a positive, or you are multiplying a negative times a negative, okay. But now, this positive and a positive, it must give you this middle term of negative 6. So now we're going to check, is it possible for us to get a negative 6 if we're adding a positive and a positive? The answer is no. It means this pair does not meet the requirements. What is the pair that meets the requirements? It's a negative times a negative. So two numbers, when we multiply, they give us positive 9. The same numbers, when we add, they give us negative 6. It's negative 3 times negative 3. Okay, so this, you take it to this side, it becomes negative 3 and a negative 3. It gives you negative 6. So what does that mean? It means the factors is x minus 3, and x minus 3. So we've got 0 is equal to x into x minus 3 into x minus 3. Also, this one is a factor, people, okay, because it was taken out from this equation. Then now we're going to say, therefore, x is equal to 0. The first x is equal to 0, or x minus 3 is equal to 0, or x minus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, that means you are doing your linear equations. Therefore, x is equal to 0 and x is equal to 3. We're going to take only one x is equal to 3 because both of them these ones, they are the same. So the answer is x is equal to 3, okay, because they are having the same point, which is x is equal to 3. Now people, now let's move to question D. Question D says calculate the turning points. The coordinates of a turning point is made up of x values and y values. So we're going to start by calculating the x values, these values. So we're going to say y is equal to x to the power 3 minus 6x squared plus 9x. The y is the same as f of x is equal to x to the power 3 minus 6x squared plus 9x, which now we're going to derive. So we're going to use the method of deriving to find the coordinates of the turning point. In fact, the value of x first. You must find the value of x by deriving this equation. So f prime of x is equal to 3x squared minus 12x plus 9. You know most how to derive. It's like this one has got 1. Okay, so 1 times 3, it becomes 3x to the power 3 minus 1, which this one becomes 2. At this point, you're supposed to know how to derive. So 6 times 2 is 12. X to the power 2 minus 1, which is the same as x to the power 1. Then this one was 9x to the power of 1. Then what is 9 times 1 is 9. X to the power 1 minus 1, which means x to the power 0. But now the derivative, it remains as 9. The derivative of 9x to the power 1 is 9. Now we are having this type of an equation. Okay, so now how to find the x value? We must let the derivative be equal to 0. So this part we must make it to be equal to 0, and then we're going to solve for x. But what we have noticed here in this equation, before we can solve for x, we can see that there's a common factor, which is 3. There is 3 here, there are 3's here, and also here. Okay, so how many 3 here? 1. Then what is left? 1 times x squared is x squared. How many 3 here in 12? There are 4. 4 times x is 4x. And then how many 3 in 9? There are 3. So now we've got this equation, which has been simplified. Okay, now we'll have to find the factors. Okay, factorize, solve for x by factorization. So we've got 0 is equal to, then we open up 2 brackets as I did, and then we want 2 numbers. When you multiply, they give us a 3. The same numbers, when you add, they give us minus 4. If your middle term is negative, it means these numbers that are the factors of 3, it must be a negative number times a negative number. So what are those numbers? Okay, those numbers, it's negative 3 times negative 1, because negative 3 and negative 1, they give you the middle term, which is negative 4. So our factors is x minus 3 into x minus 1 is equal to 0. Then we put this one into a linear equation. It becomes x minus 3 is equal to 0 and x minus 1 is equal to 0. Then we solve for x. Therefore x is equal to 3 or x is equal to 1. So now we have got 2 x values. Now we must find the y values. Okay, how to find the y values? Okay, how to find the y values here? So it must be the y values of turning point. We're going to substitute the x values into the original equation. So the original equation was given as f of x is equal to x to the power 3 minus 6x squared plus 9x. So we're going to start when x is equal to 3. Therefore f of 3 is equal to 3 cubed minus 6 into 3 squared plus 9 times 3. Then the answer is 0. So what does that mean? The first turning point that we have got is this. When x is equal to 3, the value of y is 0. Okay, then now we are going to calculate the second turning point when x is equal to 1. So f of 1 is equal to 1 to the power 3 minus 6 into 1 squared plus 9 times 1. So the answer is 4. So what does that mean? It means the second turning point that we're going to have when x is equal to, when x is 1, the value of y is equal to 4. Okay, this is another turning point. So now we're going to use all of these values to draw a neat graph. Okay, so and how are we going to draw our neat graph? Okay, we're going to use all of those points. Remember, the y-intercept, there was a point whereby when x was 0, the y value was also 0. Okay, and then we had the x-intercept. The x-intercept, there was a point whereby x was equal to 0, and then there was a point where x was equal to 3. Okay, so these 2 points again. Okay, then the third point is the maximum turning point when x is equal to 1, y is equal to 4. The other turning point when x is equal to 3, y is equal to 0. So this one is the minimum turning point, and you can also label this graph. This is the graph of y is equal to x cubed minus 6x squared plus 9x. Done, people.